Oh, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 664 of FloWrestling Radio Live. I'm your host, Christian Piles, joined today by Ben Funky Askren, and back from his Mexican vacation.
But back like I never left.
Like he never left, JD Raider. He stole the hotel or the resort's robe.
No. No.
I was say that looks like a robe he's wearing.
No, they gave this to me because they love me so much down there.
So JD's maybe changed forever.
I think that's how it goes.
No, I talked it out with them. It's all good. It's okay.
Ain't gonna be no problems.
So
Ain't no issues.
what hotel was that?
We're all amigos down there. All good.
Okay.
All right. How was
JD's number is 515-732.
Yeah. Yeah, JD. So JD's back like he never left, except he's got a new persona, and that's okay. We've got on the Flow Grappling team, we've got Hollywood Mike. I don't know what your nickname would be.
Mexico Mike,
even though your name's JD, it's fine. Juan D. Raider, perhaps we'll call you that.
There we go.
That could work. How was your time in Mexico? You were missed.
It was great, obviously.
Obviously.
Can't have a bad time down there.
Okay. I've never been, I must say. Okay. Well, there's quite a bit that's still happening. I want to start because tomorrow we're going to have a compliance officer on from Oklahoma State University.
What?
How cool is that?
You made it happen?
We made it happen. Shout out David Bray. He got it done. So he's going to be on tomorrow. Very excited for that. Going to learn a lot about NIL and all that stuff. And hopefully, you got to figure this guy's got at least one AJ Ferrari story in the chamber, right?
Yeah, well, I was going to say, maybe we don't want to pry too much with him.
Just enough. Just a little bit. Because, there's enough. But then also, I wanted to mention, so we've been discussing a bunch about, hey, Oklahoma and some of these states have such a tremendous leg up. Some states like New Jersey and others don't even have a plan of when this could come in. It is my understanding and belief that on Wednesday, the NCAA is going to come out with a statement and their plan that's going to give basically blanket immunity to all programs. So it's not going to.
I was saying, why couldn't they do this?
It's going to be like what you said. They're just not going to punish anybody no matter the state.
Yes.
Yeah, that's simple.
So it's simple. It makes sense. And it's what they're going to do. So that's fantastic because that way you don't have, school A like Oklahoma State. I'm sure Oklahoma State's like, well, that's kind of annoying. Better. But, no huge advantage state by state. I think it makes sense. And I was glad to.
Where we'll see the advantages now is the schools that have prepared and set themselves up with entire departments dedicated to this and specific staff members and stuff like that.
Yeah, and go ahead.
Yes, I mean, this was my question last week, though, is why can't the NCAA just wave their wand and boom, it's done? And now that it feels like you're telling me that is what is going to happen. And then so it's like, is there even any state legislation that needs to happen, or can they just wave their wand and then boom, it's done forever?
I don't understand the need for state legislation after this.
Yeah, doesn't make sense, right?
No, not to me, which is great. I don't think this is something that state legislatures need to be involved with anyways.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah, I agree.
Now, I guess if they were being preemptive, hey, if the NCAA is going to be screwy or crazy or punitive or restrictive of the athletes, the states were putting it in their own hands to say, no, you're not going to be able to do this. So maybe they, in some way, force the NCAA's hand. Either way, I think it's great progression and awesome news.
Yeah, I love it. Let's do it.
So that'll be good. Excited for that. So I think, what's cool about this summer, July 1st, I think we're going to start seeing these deals and seeing this stuff unfold before our eyes. So
I think in wrestling it's going to be a little bit less than maybe some college kids are assuming. Unfortunately, I don't think they'll be making as much money.
Oh yeah, it'll be
as they thought they were.
It'll be a reality check for some of them. For some, it'll be a nice payday.
Yes.
So, one thing talking about this, how do we see NIL disrupting or impacting the current balance of power within college wrestling? Let's not look at college sports on the whole, but just college wrestling. How do we see it manifesting itself?
What if we're talking about there's a blanket one, then I don't really think at all. I think I kind of brought this up a couple weeks ago. Um, and I said, even if you're on a power program and you're the fourth biggest name, right, or fourth most popular person, um, I think they're kind of getting left behind. So, that's going to be kind of the equivalent to being a number one at a really smaller program. So I don't really see too much difference with what's going on right now.
I that was my gut too. But I do think it is a separator because I do to the degree I don't know how much, but I think when you look at the Iowas, the Penn States, Oklahoma States, Ohio States, and the others, I think they're about this far. I think it's going to be a little bit like this. They're going to move a little bit further apart.
Well, but why do you think that?
Okay, because here's why I think that. So, all right, and it kind of plays back to what Rob Cole was talking about last week when he came on the show. He's like, man, you have to applaud Penn State because they get all these guys that'll go there for less just to go to Penn State.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so the way I see it manifesting itself is, hey, yeah, you come to Penn State, Iowa, Oklahoma State, Ohio State for a little less. But look, we have this program here. We're going to help you make money on your name, image, and likeness, and you're going to get some scholarship aid and X, Y, and Z. And so it's just another way for them to compensate for the smaller scholarship allotment that they're going to give out.
So how are they going to get the scholarship? How are they going to get the sponsorship money to their athletes, Christian? Like, how are you? So remember, I brought up the case where essentially the school and the athletes partner, and they say the school says our deal is this big. We're going to allot this much to the athletes. So each athlete gets an extra little stipend. How are you? But I don't think at this point that that's legal. I think it will be at some point. How are you thinking that it's going to happen with, say, a Penn State?
Okay. Well, hypothetically, I'm not saying that the schools themselves are going to arrange the sponsorships. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying they're going to say, listen, we're one of the biggest brands in college wrestling. Okay, there's a lot of eyeballs. There's a lot that comes with being a starter here. And with that, you're going to get these sort of opportunities. Here's the programs we have in place to help you get your, to understand how to profit off your name, image, and likeness. You're going to be a star at Penn State. You're going to be a star at Iowa, and you're going to be able to do X, Y, and Z to make money off that, right? So it's not that they're going to arrange it. It's that it's going to be another way for you to compensate. Does that make sense?
No, I think so. And then the counterpoint to that, I kind of think a little bit the opposite is going to happen. I mean, maybe you're number one. So right now, number one at Iowa would be Spencer Lee. Number one at Oklahoma State would be AJ Ferrari. Mm-hmm. That will be the case, right? But that's a singular person, maybe a couple of them. Whereas at a smaller university, like at Mizzou, like I was a star across the board, not just for wrestling, but kind of across the board. And I think then if you look at even smaller schools that are less successful athletic programs, some of these smaller Pennsylvania schools, or say Little Rock, right? Chandler Rogers was just here and he was talking about how, they're essentially the second most popular team on campus. Someone that's a star there can kind of where that person might get lost at, say, a Michigan or Ohio State or something because there's so many good basketball players and football players. So I think the monetization for, say, the number 3, 4, 5 guy on a major program versus the number 1 on a small program are going to be relatively equivalent.
In my opinion, it's a little bit of a charitable view of how much money there is around these smaller programs. Missouri, first of all, Missouri's not in that bucket.
Yeah. But it was 15 years ago.
Yes, true. But
it's not. But what do you mean by around the programs? So are you thinking these sponsorships are going to come within the community? Is that what you're saying? Or so here's what I'll think about. I'm a wrestling apparel company, right? And there's someone really successful from Little Rock. I'll say, hey man, here's what we'll do. We'll pay you a small stipend. I'll make a bunch of really cool shirts with your name on them, maybe some shorts. And then, we'll try to sell those on our website so you can send people there. And then we'll also maybe send you guys a whole bunch of costs that you can put in your team store or something to that effect. And you can take the extra. And so then because they're in that small program, they're getting a lot of notoriety, in that area, and they sell a whole bunch of merchandise. Listen, I'm not saying they're making much money, but for a college kid, they make $5,000. That's great to a college kid for sure.
Yeah. I'm just a little skeptical on
Well, so
that
whereas
level of finance.
okay, so then if I'm a major program, so I'm thinking, okay, so Rudis, for example, they buy the license to do Iowa gear. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. I'm Rudis. If I'm Rudis, I have to buy the license to make Iowa gear. So I'm gonna probably I'm paying someone for that license to do the Iowa brand. Okay, now if I have to pay an athlete on top of the Iowa brand, now I'm paying two people, right? And so for a Spencer Lee, I'm willing to do that. I will. I'll pay Spencer. I'll pay who's ever selling the license to me. Will be great. Okay, maybe for number 2, Alex Marinelli, we'll do something similar. He's pretty popular also. But we get down to number 4 on the list. How much more Iowa gear can I sell? Because if I to the Iowa fan, if I sell the Iowa shirt, regular Iowa shirt, I sell a Spencer Lee shirt, I sell Alex Marinelli shirt. How many damn Iowa shirts can one fan have? They can't. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's limited. They're not gonna wear an Iowa shirt Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's so rare.
To me, I just correlate the overall visibility you have to the school, the program, the community as your value, right? So I don't look at it as like, yeah, for one particular company investing in one athlete, okay, yeah, maybe that's diminishing returns if they just say, okay, we get Spencer and Marinelli and Kimmer and Ironman. But I'm saying there's just gonna be myriad. It's not gonna be single threaded through one thing. It's like, okay, maybe it's a car dealership over here, or it's apparel over here, or it's one of them's a hunter. I don't know.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you. So obviously, I've been doing sponsorship deals and getting them for the last 20 years of my life. If a car dealership decides to sponsor an athlete, and it's not like the number 1 guy, it's not the best quarterback or the best basketball player or Spencer Lee on the wrestling team, they're going to lose money on the deal, and they're doing it out of the goodness of their heart just because it's charity, right? And some of these people, listen, they're making a lot of money. They're a rich person. They own a couple car dealerships, and they say, you know what? I really like who's someone that's not very good. Let's say Jacob Warner. Man, I really like the ladies' man, Jacob
Hold
Warner.
on.
I know he's number 7. I know he's number 7 on the popularity list, Iowa. I don't give a damn. That dude's a ladies' man. He loves ZZ Top. He's cool. I'm throwing him some cash. Like, they might do that. But they ain't making their money back on it, I'll tell you that much.
Well, first of all, Jacob Warner's pretty dang good.
He is, but okay, on the Iowa popularity list, let's do it right now. Top 10 Iowa starters. What's their popularity list? Go 1 through 10. Go. I'll do mine. Okay, we got Spencer Lee number 1. You got Marinelli number 2. You got DeSanto number 3.
Oh,
you got
DeSanto's
Kemmer.
2.
Hold on, Kemmer number 4. You can make your list in a second.
Oh yeah.
We got Ironman number 5. You got Big Tone number 6. Warner number 7. Who's number 8? Number 8 is going to be Max Murin. Number 9 is going to be Caleb Young, and number 10 is going to be whoever they start at 184. There's my top 10. So yeah, Warner's number 7. I was right.
Yeah, that's.
Where do you go?
Well, listen, the number 7, I guess my point is the 7th most popular person.
There's still more eyeballs on them.
There's still more. It's just the bottom line is eyeballs.
But guys, there's not. Because we're talking within that Iowa City community. Listen, if Little Tony's Ford dealership, if they want to sign an athlete, Spencer Lee's going to go show up and sign some autographs for an hour. They're not going to go down the list to number 7.
Listen,
you see what I'm saying?
I'm about to change the subject slightly, but Casey's Pizza should sponsor the Iowa heavyweight every year.
They should.
That's genius. Listen, that's a freebie, Casey's.
Yeah. And so I don't think this would I actually don't think this is going to happen for football, but like I'm saying, because football, there's just a really high volume of people, and maybe number 1, a really high volume of people, and number 2, the most popular people do have a whole bunch of commercial value to people. But for wrestling programs, I mean, what we're talking about for a college athlete, an extra $5,000 to $7,000 a year is like that. That's really life changing. I mean, college athletes are not making a lot of money. Not all of them come from wealthy families. That type of money is really good. And so for a wealthy individual within the community who runs a business that says, you know what, I'm going to put up $50,000 and I'm going to have the whole Iowa team come out and I'm going to pay them all $5,000, give them a check for maybe they come out 2 autographs, 1 in the spring, 1 in the fall. They could do that. That's a possibility. So if college programs are are able to arrange something like that, now that's where it could be the game changer. So I guess we'll see how much of a CEO some of these head coaches are.
Yeah, I'll say this and we can move on. In my opinion, the 5th, 6th, or 7th most popular Iowa wrestler will have more value to a company than the most popular wrestler at a Little Rock, at a.
I disagree strongly.
Okay, this is good. All right, that's fine. You would probably know more than me, but that's just my opinion. JD?
Well, I gave you an example of who that, if they're an Iowa fan or an Iowa company, or they're going to go after the number 1, 2, or 3 first.
Understood.
And the fan's going to buy the number 1, 2, and 3 shirt first.
Also, I think on a national level, though, those Iowa guys are still just gonna Penn State guys are still just gonna have like more of a following. They're gonna have more Instagram followers than.
I don't disagree.
And not everything has to be limited to Iowa University, the city of Iowa City.
Well, I don't want to break this to you guys, because I don't want to break this to you. I have 900,000 Instagram followers, and say a college athlete. Let's see how many Max Murin has. Okay, let's do this real quick.
Okay, we're comparing Ben Askren to Max Murin right now.
Okay, I'm going to tell you. Here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you is that you may say they may have more Instagram followers than X, Y, or Z, and the answer is that might be true. But for most of these guys, the big stars, you're correct. AJ Ferrari, Spencer Lee, Gable Stevenson, et cetera, et cetera. But for the guys that got, I don't know, 20,000 Instagram, 10,000, it ain't worth much. It ain't worth much. They might be getting paid $50, $100 for a post. They might get some free swag for a post. It ain't gonna be a lot of money. I'm telling you that much.
I agree with that. Okay. Fun stuff. This is good. Last year we were talking about who knows what, just sadness basically, and hypothetical matches.
Murin's got 6,147 Instagram followers.
Okay.
Yes.
Maybe he could get a pet store sponsorship with since he has that snake.
There you go. In Iowa City.
Yeah. What kind of? Yeah, we should Google what's the biggest pet store. July 1st. That pet store needs to be knocking on Max Murin's door. Bottom line. Okay. So Abdulrashid Sadulaev was in action last week. He looked like a human. Now, before we get all excited, this is not terribly unique for Sadulaev. While he is a destroyer and someone who dominates a lot of his matches, it's not unprecedented to see him have some close bouts. So before you get off on a runaway train, which is a train I desire to be all aboard, I would love to conduct the train of Sadulaev is struggling and he's on the way
down.
Out, and Snyder's going to take him out. I'm kind of throttling myself back to a degree.
Hold on, Christian. The only really tight match I can recall him having, it was actually Batsiev who wrestled him in this tournament. And I want to say it was like 9-7 is kind of how I remember it. It was a very competitive match, and it was maybe 3 years ago. What other ones do you remember?
So at Euro Finals, he had a 3-1 win over Hushtin of Belarus. Okay. He had a 3-0 over Gadziev of Azerbaijan in that tournament as well. He had a 2-1 against Sharifov at Europeans in 92.
Oh, I don't remember that one.
Yeah, 2018 Europeans. So they've happened before. There was that Batsiev match that you mentioned. So it has happened, albeit it's rare. If you look at his 2020 Europeans, 8-2, 9-4, 10-4, 6-0, 6-0. No techs in 5 matches at the 2020 Europeans.
Not one of them.
Which is a little interesting, but, none of them particularly close either.
So I don't want to make accusations here, but, you've discussed this topic before. They might have done that gimmick where they lie about his birthday.
No, that happened. That's not even like disputable anymore. That's a fact.
That's not even disputable.
No, it's indisputable. There was a.
So how old is he really?
I think he's really 27.
How old do they say he is?
24, 22, 23, something like
sure?
that. Abdul, I'll look right now.
Okay, so they
difference, but they made his new birthday like 25. The Russian Halloween or New Year.
Russian Victory Day. They say he's 25. I think he's 28 or so.
Yeah, maybe he's a little older. So, he's at the end of his career, he's slowing down a little bit. We think about early JB, got a lot of tech falls. Later JB is, wrestling a lot more competitive matches. They probably lied about his birthday by about, I don't know, 3 to 5 years, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And now we're probably where we should be in the arc of his career.
Yes. Yes.
The other thing I wonder is because I don't know this because I don't do these, but how soon do they got to cycle off to get ready to pass some drug tests in Rio, since they're actually gonna, I said Rio, oh my gosh, in Tokyo, so they can actually not get popped.
Well, I don't know.
Because we can't act like that didn't happen, because when you saw that report on how many failed drug tests the Russian wrestling team actually had, it was relatively astronomical.
Yes, it's high, but
Very high.
Think about how he looked at the 2016 Olympic Games, where I would say they were under as much, if not more, scrutiny. Their very presence in the Olympics was in jeopardy that entire summer until they went there, and Russia was still very strong. He was.
Wait, 2017, they did not have their best year though, so maybe they were off and they were, on the.
I mean, 2017 was we beat them by one match. Like they were pretty good that year.
Yeah, but when you look at them compared to what they have been, it's definitely a little lower.
Yes, Sadulaev to me, and we can pull up the his first closest match with.
Dude, Ivan is a hero for putting these things together.
Well, these are all on YouTube. If you checked out Kozak's article, the every match is on YouTube, so you can see. But this is nice because
he clipped it up.
Mm-hmm.
He clipped it up.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So Sadulaev is in red, I believe.
Has Sadulaev ever got thrown for 4 like this before? I watched this.
Yeah,
this thing coming up.
He has. This is kind of
when he threw himself.
He was in danger. Yeah,
he shouldn't have come up.
He shouldn't have come up. No.
I love giving advice to one of the greatest to ever do it. It's a big.
Well, hindsight advice is way easier.
Yeah, that's when I really excel. All right, now here, there's a moment here. JD and I were discussing, should this have been 2 for Blue? Watch right here, right there, boom.
No, because it's just like a front head pinch or a gut wrench. Red is the one attempting the hold of the maneuver, so if he exposes, then so what?
So go back one time, and I want you to watch Blue's
his arm. You're saying he pulls him?
Yeah, he kind of like goes whoa, like
so. I would think weight on him. Yeah, I would think just like like we'll say front head pinch or a gut wrench. If you're the defensive man in the maneuver and say the offensive guy exposes himself, you actually have to kind of like freeze them for a second to get credit for that points. You know what I'm saying? Like if I go here and then I go right back, even though I exposed, you're not getting any points. If I go here and then you kind of come on top me and you hold me there for a second and boom, and then I come back up, I think there's a decent chance you're getting 2.
Yeah.
Like getting for headlock.
So that was I think if I had seen 2 thrown up there, I wouldn't be totally shocked. I feel like there have been scenarios.
I would think the refs are dum-dums. Figured that. I would be offended.
Maybe I just wanted points scored on Sadulaev. So what are your thoughts on this performance? I mean, some context. First competition in 7 months?
Something like that.
That's a long time. But he doesn't really like to wrestle all that much.
And he was scheduled to wrestle
compete, I should say.
Yeah, at Sassuary with the rest of the Russian Olympic team. But he allegedly got a cold. And so then wrestled, what was this, 2 weeks later here. And
got a lot tougher competition they would have at Sassuary. Yeah. Sassuary had like nobody.
I know.
Yeah. The Leafs got really deep fields lots of times.
To me, it's just him being a little out of shape. First competition back, probably not at his peak training cycle. And when he had to score 9 points, when he only had to score 4, he scored 4.
Yeah.
It's like, I got scored on. Okay, I'll go score more points and then sit on that lead. That's what I take away from it.
Oh my gosh, I'm an idiot. I'm watching on Facebook, not on VMix. Sometimes I do both. That double leg there, he really got caught on his heels. I was kind of surprised there. That was really
he got ran through.
And I don't think we've ever seen that before. Sorry, Tyler, bad communication on my part. This one right here.
Yeah,
he really gets put on his heels. Boom! Right there, it's just like that looks Like, ooh, wow, that was
That was more of an alarming moment than him getting forward. The forward
I
was
agree.
just like sort of tactically, just sort of a strange thing.
Yes.
This was like, whoa. I mean, how many times have you seen him just kind of, I guess you could say, blown through like that? It was
Almost never.
almost
Well,
never.
what I like, from Americans' perspective, is he was definitely out of shape. Like,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
Kyle Snyder's path to victory against Sadulaev, in my opinion, is to gas him out like he did in 2017.
Yes.
Oh yeah, for
And
sure.
So what are we? A little more than a month, like 5 weeks away from Olympics, something like that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, you can get in better shape in 5 weeks, but are you gonna get in beat Kyle Snyder shape?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, you're not gonna get in freaking great shape because if you were to train your balls off to get in that good of shape,
You're
you risk
overtraining for those
injury,
5 weeks. You're not gonna
overtraining,
peak.
et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, it's not. I mean, usually if I'm really trying to peak for something, it's like I want to get in my maximum shape, 4 to 6 weeks prior, and then the last 4 to 6 weeks is just keying in on the details and
Yeah,
focusing on the
tapering off a
technique
bit.
aspects of it. Yep, that type of stuff.
Yeah. So for me, I do think that we have seen nothing but evidence or things that can kind of be anecdotal or not. You feel like the field is not as removed from Snyder as we thought 2 months ago. 2 months ago, Mohammedian is a nightmare matchup for Kyle Snyder that we do
Yep.
not want to see, and Sadulaev is just what we've always revered him as, is the best walking the planet right now. He looked mortal here against guys that are not as good as Kyle Snyder. He looked not in great shape. I don't think he's all that big for 97. I think Snyder is
No.
all of 97 kilograms. And, you factor in that. And then, we said in previous shows, Mohammedian of Iran is not someone listen, ideally, no, you don't
You
want
should
to
be
see
a little
that guy.
nervous about him.
Yeah, you're nervous.
little
It's
bit.
obviously a losable match. Snyder could lose to him. But I feel
We
like
need to pay someone to make Mohammedian and Sadulaev first round, Christian. Can we do that?
I'll look into it.
Okay.
But it doesn't seem like we can do that.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, when you think about, I remember it was 2016 or 17. I was talking with Bill Zadek, and they were, talking about how to game plan for Sadulaev, and they're like, we have a hard time doing that because there's literally at that point in time there's like no video evidence of guys even getting to a lock. There was like an example of like you just couldn't even find how they were penetrating through his head hands defense. He was so positionally ridiculous. Now I feel like, all right, there's a lot of little things that you can analyze and maybe you would get overexcited about and draw conclusions that aren't there. But that was the discussion back then in 2016 or 17. I can't remember the exact year. But
Yeah.
to think now, it's like, okay, we've seen this guy get scored on in double legs. We've seen him thrown to his back.
But all of that kind of, I mean, a lot of it kind of boils down to you have to be able to stay in great enough position. You have to be able to not get scored on early. You have to be able to get him tired, put a pace on him and get him tired. Like a lot of it is predicated on that. It's not like, oh, you're just going to go shoot a high crotch and scoring him, right? His positioning is outstanding, or a doubling and scoring him. We're going to have to put all these things together. Is there's kind of a concept of it. This is good for younger athletes because a lot of my high school guys they struggle with this one. They want to know, like, how can I do this right away, right now? And it's like with Sadulaev, like, listen, if Kyle Snyder wins a 2-2 match against Sadulaev, he can be pumped. He's gonna have an Olympic gold medal.
Yeah.
He can win. He can win 2-2. Like, you have to have one scoring opportunity over the course of 6 minutes, and sometimes you have to be that disciplined. Sometimes scoring opportunities don't present themselves every 30 seconds or every 45 seconds. You'd be very, very disciplined and stay in your position. Maybe you give a passivity point. Maybe you give a push out, but you're staying disciplined. And then in minute 5, you get him a little bit tired. Boom, you penetrate on one attack, you score, and you're the freaking Olympic champion.
I will say,
I mean,
Sadulaev.
that's like how he won his Olympic title in 16, Kyle Snyder.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he won by, if it wasn't criteria, it was a 2-1, 1-1 type of match.
Yeah.
Sadulaev did score a handful of times from the front head
Yes.
position, so it seemed like that was like a point of emphasis or whatever. Like, but that makes me dangerous because, like you were saying, you can't just go out and shoot.
No.
That's not how you're gonna put your pace on Sadulaev.
No,
Yeah, it's got to be in the
absolutely
hand fight for sure. Yeah, so thinking about that, and what also gives me confidence, and a big theme of FRL is talking ourselves into USA gold medals. So let me just do that. I will always do
not. How
that.
many we got now? 5?
Well, yeah, 5 of 5. Gillen's gonna get it done. Rocky, it's gonna be like a Rocky-esque story, fighting through the injury.
Nice.
But with Kyle, one thing that I like is Sadulaev's basically. I think he's the best parterre offense in the world. Kyle Day could probably enter that chat, but we need to see him do that against the best of the best, like Sadulaev has forever. But Kyle is really tough parterre. He is tough to turn. It's very, very rare to see him turn. I'm sure it's happened previously to this, but the last time I can remember him getting gutted was the 16 trials when Varner went takedown to a gut, like right seamlessly. I don't think Sadulaev's turned him parterre. Yeah, he put him on his back and pinned him. But it wasn't like a takedown and then let me get to my lock and run my feet type of thing.
Hey, speaking of that turn that he did on Kyle Snyder in the 2018 World Finals, it's kind of interesting that he's trying to use that like underneath position, because obviously he just tried using it in that match where we were talking about where he almost gave up the exposure. So we called it a chest crusher back in Wisconsin, where you hook the arms.
Mm-hmm.
He's really trying to like swim through there and use that position. It's kind of like unique. It's something that if I saw a high school do it, I'd say, dude, that's junk. Like, what do you do? What are you even doing down there? And obviously you can't say that to the greatest wrestler in the world. So I find that very unique that he's trying to score out of that position on a semi-regular basis.
Yeah, it is sort of strange. But all that
Figure something out.
Yeah, he's figured something out there. He's the rules don't apply to the freaks and the goats, and he's definitely one, if not both of those.
Yep.
So we got some other news. Bajrang looked good, got injured, but I saw on Instagram his coach said he's fine, no problem. He'll be good.
It hamstring, you think?
I don't know. I don't think they got that specific about it.
Well, so yeah, because you can't see him like hold any specific part of his leg. But are you gonna, if we play this video right here, I don't really think there's a possibility of a knee injury there because the leg is straight. I think the real only possibility would be kind of a hamstring. I don't know what else it would be. What do you guys think? I think we're trying to get this video up.
Yeah, I'm not sure. JD, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, probably it could have just been like a cramp or something like that.
No, come on. He ain't quitting the match because of a cramp. This is Bajrang. He's a savage.
Well, maybe it was knee.
What?
Tyler, fast forward.
Fast forward to
like 10 seconds.
Well, so it's essentially we call it world's best on a move cradle, and he goes kind of limp with his hip and straightens his leg, which is a defense that a lot of people use these days. But it really puts a lot of pressure on the back of your hamstring, that's why I was thinking hamstring.
Here it is.
The knee is locked out and straight here, so I don't really think there's a chance that it was the knee. I think definitely more hamstring possible, maybe some type of hip. See how straight his leg is right there? Mm-hmm. So he straightens out his leg, takes over the top. Hip or hamstring, that I would be shocked if it was any type of knee injury or anything.
Well, we love Bajrang. Hope he's all right.
I mean, it looks like he's holding his knee right there when he rolls out.
But I just don't really foresee that being a possible injury in that scenario.
Yes. So, but his coach put out, hey, no problem. We'll be fine. Got great news on the medical report. So that's wonderful to hear, because with no Americans in the field at 65, I know Bajrang will be who I'm hoping wins.
We're adopting Bajrang as an American.
Can we make him the official American
rep?
He trains at Cliff Keen sometimes. He's he's popular here. He wrestled on the he won the 150. We put $25,000 in his pocket. I think we can adopt Bajrang.
Did y'all see the video of Odaguro training with horses?
Oh snap! Does that mean, is this your way of saying you're supporting Odaguro over Bajrang?
I'm not.
You're not saying that?
I'm not saying that.
Okay. While we're pulling up horse training, other news, of which there is much. Gwiz to Spartan Combat / Cornell. He's going to train at Spartan Combat. He's joining the staff at Cornell. That was not. I didn't realize that aspect of it until Coach Gray reached out and said, "Hey, he's actually going to be a volunteer assistant as well at Cornell." So that's cool. Obviously, sort of underrated, shocking kind of move. He's been at NC. It's not shocking in that he's from. I think it's pronounced Duanesburg, New York.
Duanesburg?
Duanesburg, New York. So he's kind of back to New York. He's been at NC State for 9 years, and it makes sense that he would want to start his coaching career. And maybe there's not a spot for him. I'm sure there's gonna be a spot for him at NC State if he said, "Hey, Pat, can you put me on staff, please?" But I think it makes sense, and it's a great get for Cornell. I mean, to have that guy in the room, you've got Vito, you've got Yanni, you've got Dake, and now you've got Gwiz. It's a really salty group of senior level athletes. I know 2 of them are still have several years of college.
Cornell get that first All-American heavyweight.
They still have not had it. I mean, they are. You can't say they're not trying.
Has Gwiz, has he said, "I'm going through 2024"? I don't recall him making a statement on how much longer he plans on competing.
I don't know if he's gotten that specific, but listen, the writing's on the wall. It's like, yeah, maybe I can't beat Gable, but does that matter? Because he's going to be gone. So I think Gwiz sees the writing on the wall there. Now there's this guy in Michigan who may have something to say about it, but I think the Gwiz Mason conversation is really different from the Gwiz Gable Stevenson conversation, right? And I think that's a reason to hang around, right? To continue to train. And I don't like it when the guys who are like, well, I don't know if I can make the team, so I'm done anyway. So even if Gable was sticking around, I would respect the move of him. The move for wrestling to be where we want it to be. A reason to retire should never be I'm second in the country, right? That's not.
But it's got to. But then we go back to the NIL discussion we're having. Superstars, there is a gigantic difference between number 1 and number 2 as far as sponsorship payments are going, RTC payments are going, et cetera, especially once you start dropping to 3, 4, 5. And so, I mean, hanging around in that position where you're not making any money and you're not the guy, there's other things you can do with your life. So I see where you're coming from for sure, but also adults got to be adults and grow up and take care of their family, make money, get coaching jobs, et cetera.
No doubt.
Yeah, in today's day and age, I think you can make quite a bit being an RTC, or not quite a bit, but maybe more than being a volunteer assistant.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know exactly what the RTCs are giving away, but I know the guys that are on top of the ladder are making way more than the guys who are a little bit down it. I mean, ideally for me, if we got a professional league and we got RTCs that are paying the number 10 guy a livable wage.
Yes.
Right.
Ideally.
Okay. Other news, Ray Blake to Bixby, Oklahoma. So now Oklahoma boasts 2 former prominent D1 assistants. I'm not just saying D1 assistant, prominent. Ray Blake is prominent and instrumental at Stanford. And Ethan Kyle was instrumental at Wyoming. And now the state of Oklahoma has 2 guys coaching, of course, Coach Kyle at Stillwater, Coach Blake at Bixby now. I think this is great for the state of Oklahoma.
How does Bigsby pay Ray Blake enough to go? I mean, because it's not like he's even from there. He's from Chicago, I believe.
Yes.
So Ethan Kyle went to college in Stillwater, so you can see why he may want to go back there. How the heck is Bigsby paying him enough to go be the coach at Bixby?
I don't know.
They must have some boosters or something.
Yeah, they got some boosters.
Or is he a teacher also?
I would be surprised if he's teaching.
You think he's just a high school wrestling coach?
I think so.
Why? How could they pay? In Wisconsin, they don't pay the high school coaches nothing.
I don't know. I feel like in Christiansburg and Dresser was like, I think all he did was coach wrestling.
Really?
I'm pretty sure. And run the Blue Demon Wrestling Club.
We need to get a few of those.
Yeah, get it up. Get the level up, Ben.
I don't think you can do that in Wisconsin. I think my understanding is it's illegal, but I don't know.
It's illegal to pay wrestling coaches.
I think there's a standard of what the high school coaches make. I believe. Maybe I'm confused on the topic.
Yeah. Well, I
Because
don't
you
know.
would just think if someone could do it, they would have done it. Maybe not with wrestling first, maybe with football or basketball first.
Mhm.
And I don't think it happens.
Yeah, I don't know. Couple transfer nuggets. Matt Ramos to Purdue and Quinn Kinner to Ryder. I think both these guys are impact transfers for both programs. Now, with
Yeah, for
Ramos,
sure.
Schroeder's back.
He is coming back for one more year.
So Matt is once again. If he's a 25, which I'm assuming he is.
Yes, he is small.
He's small, so he'll be redshirting or on the bench a year, but then he'll get to come back and be the guy for Purdue. So that's a good get. And Quinn Kinner, man, I love Quinn Kinner. The season he had, the year he wrestled at 33 and 57, he was a qualifier at 57, I believe, and for us, he's gonna be tough. I think he's probably a 41 or maybe 49. I think this is great. They spelled Ryder wrong, so get that out of here. There we go. So that's a good get for Ryder. I think he's gonna be super solid there. He's the guy. I don't know what happened at Ohio State. I've still never gotten any clarity there, but
So weird, right? How they were like, yeah, there's like nothing. It's like complete and utter silence. Isn't that strange?
I asked around and was given no response, so I stopped asking.
So weird.
But yeah, so good for them. And maybe the biggest news, the biggest piece of all we are yet to mention, Rylan Rogers to Michigan. I didn't foresee this coming so, I guess I'll say suddenly, but I didn't think it was coming yet. I thought this would be a decision down the line. But huge get for Michigan. He's a
he's a junior, going to be senior, correct?
yes.
Yes.
Got it.
No,
That's pretty
197. He projects at 197. Of course, he's from Oregon, and he was on
Washington.
Washington, excuse me.
Washington, right?
He had visited with Oregon State. I know he was kind of looking around, and so it's a good get for Coach Bormet and staff.
Absolutely.
Okay, we are cruising. We are cruising down the line.
And Michigan's they picked up Chance Lamer from Oregon too, so they're gonna tap it into that Pacific Northwest market.
Wasn't the Chance Lamer a little bit? Wasn't it like a year ago, or that's not brand new, is it?
No, yeah, that's
Yeah.
not brand new.
Yeah. Okay.
Just more speaking to the theme of them recruiting nationally, the Pacific Northwest, which is, a tough area for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Where to next? We've got some NCAA official rules changes. What? Ben,
I was pumped about this Jane Ironman thing, but I guess I skipped ahead. My bad. I went back to the.
That's okay. We can go in whatever order we want. It is
Okay,
officially
Jane
our
Ironman.
show. Jane Ironman is. I think seems like he's teasing July 1st.
I think he's advertising himself.
Yeah, it's an
Hey,
ad.
that's what you should do. Get your hustle. Like, hey, I'm here.
Too bad he's fifth most popular on Iowa's team.
Yeah,
fifth most popular. But did you guys realize he could go? I didn't realize until I looked at this graphic.
me either.
Fifth, fourth, third, second, first. Sonny Abe went 4-3-2-1. I don't think anyone else has done that. And no one's had 5 chances at eligibility. So if he goes 5-4-3-2-1, he will be so legendary because he'll be the only person to ever be able to do that.
5-4-3-2-1 is all time. The fact that he's went 5-4-3-2 is I don't know what it is. It's insane.
It's like
He
Yahtzee
should get
need that
first or
large
not
straight.
place.
Yeah, he needs it. Yeah,
If he wrestles at the NCAA tournament, he has to win.
he has to win.
Yeah,
That's gonna be
you
tough.
need to
'cause
let him win.
There's gonna be a lot of good guys in his weight class. But yeah, that's really. Yeah, I didn't realize
Jason
that
Bryant corrected me. Larkin went 4-3-2-1.
either. Okay,
Jason Bryant. He's
Barry
so smart.
Larkin.
Eric Larkin. I see Eric Larkin at kids tournaments and he's helping all of his kids at wrestling, and he's with that Valiant Prep out of Arizona. They're doing a good job.
Yes. So yeah, Jaden Ironman. So you think he's advertising himself?
Which is what you should be doing.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So I'm really curious to see how this plays out. I wonder if we'll ever learn, I don't want to be nosy or in people's business. I don't ask you how much you make, Ben. But it is going to be curious. What are these kids actually able to pull in?
Well, so one of the things I was kind of bringing up, I don't want to say I brought up earlier, but it's like if you can find unique spaces too, like so for me, crypto and disc golf are things that I was just interested in, and because I'm interested in, I have a following people, from those communities.
Big weekend
Sometimes
for
we get
banging change,
sponsorships.
Ben.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my, yeah, we're gonna get to that. But my tournament's 2 weeks and 1 day. Oh wait, no wait, 2 weeks from today. So I won't be on the show in 2 weeks because we're hosting the Celeb Pro-Am on my property. It's gonna be tremendous.
You need to put in the pay comp for the paid time off, Ben.
PTO.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. But no. So if they can find, I mean, like the Max Murin pet thing, that's kind of, if they can find like their own unique thing, those type of companies would be more likely to sponsor them. So maybe someone's got like they love doing motorcycle races or something. Get a motorcycle company. So that's probably really dangerous. I shouldn't do that. I'm still trying to get Steel to sponsor me because I love chainsawing so much, but I can't get them on the hook.
Really? Have you heard back? Do you need us to flex a little bit? Use our
following.
It's so
yeah.
fun.
Do you want JD to get involved here? Come in and save the day yet again.
Ben, I close deals.
Yeah,
I'll help you out.
This guy's gonna make it happen for you.
There we go. Love it.
All right. So he'll get on the horn with Steel.
Right. Jay, who do you think Jay Ironman wants to be sponsored by?
That's what I was thinking.
Are we doing that thing tomorrow with about the NIL?
We should do it Thursday because tomorrow we've got the compliance guy.
Oh yeah, I won't be here Thursday, unfortunately. The other thing I thought that might be fun, we can push it. Yeah, the other thing that would be fun, Christian, maybe to pick out a handful of the best guys that we mentioned and figure out who the best sponsors for them are. So make like a list of who they should go after. Like I think that could be a lot of fun also.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Like figure out the pet store in Iowa City for
like
Max
Jaden
Murin.
should be a tattoo shop.
Yeah, which tattoo shop?
Jaden Ironman would be a tattoo. So I know a lot of MMA fighters because MMA fighters love tattoos also. They get sponsored by tattoo shops because it's a great deal because it's free for the tattoo shop to sponsor because all they got to do is put a little tattoo on them. It doesn't actually cost them any money. And the person's pumped because they got a free tattoo.
Free tattoo, but it's a billboard? It's literally like Johnny's tattoo shop the tattoo?
No,
you don't get Johnny's tattoo shop. You post on social media and say, thank you to X, Y, and Z tattoo shop for the awesome artwork. Yeah.
Got it. I thought you were saying they get a tattoo of the shop. I'm like, oh my gosh, that'd be terrible. Can you imagine?
Like the old MMA fights, like some of the first UFCs when they would literally just have like a temporary tattoo on their back.
Yeah, temporary tattoo. That's great.
I like the move of shooting your shot and getting like Nike tattoos. Just be like,
Christian,
I'm going to speak it into existence.
How much would you pay me to get FRL tattooed on my arm?
Ooh, FRL?
Come on. And I just do this every show.
I don't know, but yeah, you got to wear. You love tank tops, anyways.
There we go.
And you can wear them at least 2 months out of the year in Wisconsin. So, yeah, I throw you a couple greenbacks. A couple Andrew Jacksons.
There we go. Good deal. I love it. No, that would be fun. I would love to be like, maybe we could be the Flow marketing department and we could say, here's who we're going to go after. If we're AJ Ferrari's marketing director, here's who we're going after. Gable Stevenson, here's who we're going after. Like if I'm AJ Ferrari, we're definitely going after the Ferrari dealership. But if I'm Gable, I'm going to say, listen, I made the Ford Focus a really popular name. I'm going to go over to the Ford Focus. And then I'm going to gift one to AJ Ferrari as a prank. And it's going to go completely viral. And the Ford Focus will become the most popular car in America.
I like that. That's a funny idea. Imagine just having a big bow on a Ford Focus outside of AJ Ferrari's house.
And Ferrari would get pissed and come out and like try to flip it over or deadlift it or something.
Yeah, he would definitely try to deadlift it. All right. So let's talk about these rules really, really briefly.
Okay.
I mean, they're kind of big.
They're pretty big. I mean, the Josh Heil rule now exists. Just a couple months too late for Josh, unfortunately. So now they can correct timing errors instead of pretending there is no way to measure time on national TV.
That's great.
Big yikes. So that's not going to happen anymore, which is great. So they can go back and correct time. And now the overtime change is solidified too, whereas 2 minutes of sudden victory instead of 1, and then 1 round of tiebreakers. And if there's no riding time advantage, then 1 minute sudden victory period. So if after the tiebreaker someone has more riding time, you get out by 1 second, you win by tiebreaking criteria. So folk style still has criteria, and it's going to have
even sooner criteria.
Even sooner
they just
criteria.
bumped that criteria up.
They love the criteria as much as
Can't
they
get
can.
enough
So how do you
criteria.
guys feel about this? Do you feel like it changes anything? I feel like
Absolutely.
Okay, well, here's what I'm gonna say. Where I feel like it changes is that there's no way you can. Some of these dudes they stall through that first minute period
Yes.
because
do
they
that no
think
more.
they have advantage on top bottom. You can't stall for 2 minutes, bro. You got a stall warning going to overtime, and you try to stall, you're gonna get dinged again for sure.
Benefits a neutral wrestler, which I think is great especially if you're going to go to tiebreakers are just one set potentially with just a 1 second riding time advantage would determine the match. You need to have on the front end of that, since you're so punitive of the inferior mat wrestler, you have to have something on the front end of that makes it so you can't just stall that minute.
Now, this is going to put a lot of pressure on officials, though, to call that stalling in overtime and decide the match.
You're not gonna be able to. I mean,
Obviously,
no.
you can't just run.
No, you can't. You can't just run for 2 minutes.
Well, yeah, obviously, and you can't
2
just
minutes is a
run
long
for
time.
1 minute. But you can kind of play the game a little bit and yada yada. It's going to be hard to call that stalling when you're at least kind of playing the game, but still stalling for 2 minutes, which you can't. But officials aren't going to want to call that stalling.
I agree. But the better neutral wrestlers are just gonna get takedowns. That's what's gonna happen. You're not gonna be able to stall.
I don't know.
I
feel like
the guys
as a
aren't gonna go
wrestler-
into it with that mentality of stalling it out
Yes,
2 minutes.
they're not.
They're gonna go into it and be like, all right, I gotta score a takedown, and they're gonna throw out the other scenarios and not try to hold on for for riding time.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, so I think it's good. I'm looking forward to it. I think we'll see much fewer now. The heavyweight ones are where it's going to be a real banger. But you'll only see one round of tiebreakers because those guys basically always get out. So the odds of them getting out at the exact same amount of time is very small. So that's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we got multiple disc golf questions here, Ben, because this
Dude,
thing,
did you see this throw? I was watching it live, and oh my god, it was so freaking crazy.
Yeah,
Have you watched it?
Well, yeah, I've seen it.
It's electric.
Set it up.
Yeah, so I'm watching it. I got to be friends with Paul Macbeth, who's best disc golfer in the world.
Here we go.
He's seconds from winning his second. He's strokes from winning his 6th world title. He goes into the last hole with a 1-stroke lead. He then has a great tee shot. The other guy has a really terrible tee shot. So the other guy has to kind of lay up. So then Paul essentially lays up. He's guaranteed a 4. The other guy he's like 300 feet away. I think it was 270, 280 to be exact. He's very, very far away. And Amy's watching with me. She's like, "Can this guy make it?" I'm like, "Dude, like, you realize how far away he is?" And then on top of being far away, it wasn't like it was a direct shot. It was a large Anheuser shot, which means it bends back to the right, opposite the natural throwing motion. He's got to go up and around this tree. And dude, he cashed it from like 270 to put it. And so that was to put it into a playoff. So then he got a 3. Paul then got a 4. They went to the playoff and he won on the first playoff hole. But I mean, like, this was not an easy shot. It was from very far away. It was the last stroke of the tournament to send it to overtime. I mean, it was just an insane moment.
It was, yeah, it's pretty nuts. If you haven't seen the shot, we could probably show it if we wanted to.
But,
Yeah,
we probably could. Oh my gosh, it was
Crowd
crazy.
was electric.
And
oh my gosh, they were nuts.
The crowd went nuts. Seriously.
I mean, how do you not freak out? It's funny. I have my brother's like really into disc golf now, and my buddy Jerry both sent it to me immediately. And I saw your tweet about it. I was like, holy cow,
Oh my gosh.
it's insane.
Yeah, and the thing about the crowd too is that there were likely a lot of disc golfers in the crowd, and so man, when you seen the line, you were like, oh my god, this is gonna go in. Like, you see the line he's playing, you're like, oh crap, oh, it's got a chance. And so like everyone's kind of anticipating, and the second it hits chains, the crowd goes nuts. It was wild.
Here we go. There it is. Still in the.
Oh no way! Oh, so I was so like enthralled, and then so sick. I obviously wanted Paul to win, and this sends it overtime. But at the same time, it was just like this moment where it's like, oh my, that freaking happened on the last shot of the tournament. It was just, yeah, so
What's
crazy.
the name of the dude that made it?
Paul Conrad?
James Conrad.
James Conrad.
He looks exactly like how I would picture a professional disc
I know.
golfer.
I was like, oh my god, dude. Because a lot of them look like pretty. Some of them are like brotastic,
Yeah.
and then some of them are like
Lanky
that,
and
like
have
the
ponytails.
granola eaters, right? So I'm wondering what disc golf thinks about that. I
You're
bet they would.
canceled for calling them granola eaters.
Am I? Is that offensive? Do you tell me that guy doesn't like granola?
I'm so offended.
Yeah, you would be. So I feel like disc golf's really having a moment right now. Like over the last year, like just some real momentum behind it. It's kind of
well, it got a lot of momentum because obviously, I know the disc sales in the last year went crazy because I mean during Corona it was something you could go do by yourself without people around you, right outside. Yeah. It was a great opportunity because a lot of other things were canceled. Yeah, and I'll give you my 30-second sales pitch. You ready for this, Christian? It's great because it's free.
Yeah,
that's great. You don't have to have a tee time like regular golf. It takes you 60 to 90 minutes to play, depending on your skill level, which is also great. And then a whole set. So if I were to say, hey, Christian, you should go play disc golf, I would recommend you buy 3 or 4 discs. That's going to cost you $50 to $60. So if we're comparing it to real golf, you're going to spend maybe $1,000 on a real set. Number 2, you're going to need a tee time, and it's going to be expensive to play. I don't know. I would do disc golf over real golf any day of the week. Anyone who argues for real golf is a dum-dum, and they don't really see the bigger picture.
There you go. I mean, it is fun.
And you get to be out on a walk in the park.
Yeah, it's good. It is. I see the appeal.
Take your kids.
Yeah, Caleb loves it. He thinks it's so fun.
So fun.
All right. Is that throw and hole 18 one of the most clutch moment in the history of sports?
So I feel like for disc golf, it's probably the number one for sure. And as far as overall, for other sports, it feels like disc golf's still this kind of small thing when you compare it to the following of other sports. So it's most people scoff at putting it on the same level as some of these other iconic moments that have happened in basketball or football or baseball or whatever. But if you want to take away the popularity's sake and these moments become moments because everyone's watching them and we can share in them together. Do you know what I'm saying? When there's 60 million people, everyone remembers where they were when X, Y, or Z happened because there's 70 million people in America watching the Super Bowl. So with this, obviously, you're not going to have nearly that same effect. So you kind of, I don't want to say dwarf it a little bit, but you do. But as far as I don't know how you make it more clutch. It's the last freaking shot of the tournament. It's for the world championship. And you're freaking, I mean, you're so far away. You're almost 300 feet away. Making that shot is, I don't want to say 1 in 100, but it's probably 1 in 100.
Yeah. And what people want to know your putter of choice, and then we'll stop talking about disc golf.
I love disc golf. We could talk about disc. I really enjoy disc golf so much. We could talk about it all day long, and I would not be sad. Let's see. I would say I really like the Luna a lot. So the Luna has a little more stability. So I like that. And then I like the Soul also. And the Soul is a little understable. So those are the two. I use both of them depending on the situation.
You're a little understable. All right.
Fair.
From Jet Lag Ben, if I were to tell you Mark Hall's senior year of high school, he was, parentheses, only a one-time NCAA champ, would you say that was an underperformance?
I hate this question.
I kind of do too. I think.
Well, I hate when anybody brings up this.
It's also not fair because he didn't have his senior year, and there's a definite chance he would have won the second.
But it's like anytime anybody is an NCAA champion, no.
Yeah. I don't
see why it's not a fair question, guys. If it's really easy. If you take a guy when they're a senior in high school, and I'm not telling you what your answer has to be. You take a guy senior year high school and you say, here's what I think this guy's likely to accomplish. And then you take the senior year college, and you say, this is what he did accomplish. Is it more or less than you thought? Isn't that simple? Despite how
the
much it
word
is.
was underperformance.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it would be. And listen, this is no. Don't. I'm gonna get fired up. Listen, I'm not valuing their performance as them as a human being, right? I'm not tying that to them. They could be a great damn person, but at the end of the day, we are gonna have if we want to put
Nobody's
a
saying Mark
numerical
Hall's a
value
bad
on it,
person.
we're gonna have it. Well, you're saying he. I mean, you guys don't want to say this because Mark Hall seems to be. I don't really know him. Seems to be an outstanding individual, and you feel bad saying that he was a letdown. But if we want to put a numerical value on what we thought he was going to accomplish at one time, and then we can put a numerical value on it at the other time, one is either more or less. It's either underperformance, overperformance. It's going to be very, very seldom that you have someone that's exactly where you thought they were going to be. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't think you guys should have to feel bad saying, yeah, I thought Mark Hall was going to win more than one NCAA titles. And why I don't think the question is fair is because he didn't get the opportunity to win in his senior year, because I think there's a good chance he would have. And at 2, I think at 2, we're saying, yeah, two's maybe, two's a fair number. That's probably somewhere where I would have put
What if
him.
I told you he was a 3-time NCAA finalist
Yeah.
and didn't get an opportunity?
Well, I'm bringing that argument up.
Yeah.
So
I think two. I think if you said, I think yes. Here's what. Listen, I think if you took a poll, Mark Hall senior high school, and you said how many titles is this guy going to win, I think the general answer would have been greater than 1. I think 1 or 0 would have been a significantly less likely possibility.
I think he did not underperform. I don't think his career was an underperformance with the one title he won. And I think you look at the guys he beat and the guys that he lost to, it's a pretty impressive list, right? He threw out some aspects of his freshman year because it was, part of it was in redshirt, and he had the debut at Carver Hawkeye with Alex Meyer. But he avenged a lot of that, and he ended up winning his true freshman year. Then he goes back and forth. He beats Zahid, and then he loses to Zahid, and he beats Zahid. So he goes back and forth with another guy that was on a legendary trajectory, right, who didn't get his senior year for different reasons, but would have been the same reason. And then he loses to Kemmer, and then he avenges at 8-5 at Big Tens, and he's likely going to win. I don't think this is I won't say it's an unfair question to ask about any wrestler in particular, but I think this particular instance is unfair for the other aspects around it. He didn't get to wrestle in NCAAs his senior year is one of them. Another one is like you are just correlating success with winning the thing when this guy was in the finals every year, right? So I don't really like the question for that reason, because I think it's soft. No. It's not about. I think he's willfully ignoring aspects of his career. Let's characterize him.
Let's ask a better question, Christian.
Mark Hall to
and also
insert random NCAA champion.
Damn it, I'm gonna re-ask the question. And I say, like, don't tie your ego to your outcome, right? So, is Mark Hall's college career better or worse than you would have expected it? And I will answer first. I think it's right about on par because, as you guys are pointing out, he was in 2 NCAA finals. He won 1. He probably would have won the last one. I think that there was a definite possibility that he would have been like an all-timer going to win 4 NCAA titles, especially after he won as a true freshman. I think we all saw that as a possibility. And I do think the area where I would say he underperformed would be given the amount of freestyle success he had in high school. I thought he was going to have more moving forward. I thought he was a guy who was going to make senior level world teams. I think you guys, if you don't think that, you were probably disingenuous. And now I think he's definitely on the outside looking in to make a senior world team anywhere in the foreseeable future.
That I don't disagree with that. I think size is a factor a little bit in that, and he was just a little. I think he was ahead of his time at 74. When he was making, I mean, you look at some of the gauntlets he ran to make junior world teams. He had, it was like Nolf, Chenzo, Joe Smith when Joe was Joe, Chance Marsteller, on and on and on. He had to beat so many good guys to make those teams. But I think that's part of it. I think part of it was he created out of whack expectations for himself with his freestyle success, where he was a incredible.
Why do you say out of whack? He was freaking outstanding. And I mean, so like, okay, let's take someone similar.
Well, hold on.
Hold on. No, hold on.
Double hold on.
Kyle Snyder had similar age level success.
Always with the scenarios.
Kyle Snyder had similar age level success while in high school. And then look what he went on to do. Okay. And so like you were thinking that there's a possibility that Mark Hall does the same thing or something similar. Are we not thinking that?
Maybe. But I guess my point is Mark's incredible freestyle results made people expect that in folk style. And he's not the same kind of scorer in folk style that he is in freestyle. He's very dynamic. He could get a lot of counter scores defensively. He was really good on top parterre. He was not as good or dominant on top in folk style. So he
That's
had
fair.
Okay, so
answer the damn question.
I'm working on. I'm not stalling. You're creating all these hypotheticals. Kyle was winning basically on takedowns, right? So you have to look at the stylistic differences. What is even your question? What's the question? Just because Kyle Snyder was good at freestyle?
Did Mark Hall underperform or overperform based on what you would have thought as when he was a senior in high school? That's the question. Answer it.
I feel like you're about to ask me if I ordered the code red.
I'm about to call you for stalling again. Answer the question.
No, I don't think he underperformed. I think he performed excellently relative to what he did. I think people may have inappropriately placed expectations based on freestyle stuff, which was not as necessarily relevant to the conversation, which is how's he going to perform folk style.
So what about what I brought up? I said folk style.
That's different.
So what? Answer the second question. What about freestyle? Did you think his freestyle results will be better or worse than they are?
Those I thought would be better. So that
fair.
I agree with. But this was asking about NCAA championships. This wasn't asking about world teams. I thought when I was thinking about Mark Hall, I said this is the guy in line to replace Jordan Burroughs when the time comes. That's what I thought. And Jordan was alluding to that then. Right?
Yes.
I think people saw that coming. Now, a couple things happened. He outgrew 74, and he was at 79. And then Zahid is kind of like wound up being this like real Achilles heel for Mark, which I think that coming in, I didn't know that would be the case. I thought they were a little closer than they wound up being. Now, he still took 2 matches from him. You can't discount that. But now he's at 86, fully committed to 86, and I don't see the path to the team at 86 in America. No. Not as long as Zahid's still wrestling. I mean, and of course David Taylor, the biggest name of them all.
With the rise of the success of USA Wrestling as a whole, I think people need to taper back their expectations for your
Why aren't people allowed to have expectations,
dominance.
JD? You're acting like people can't have expectations.
No, because I'm saying you're going to have a guy like
bullshit.
Mark Hall and Zahid.
I want to have expectations.
No, you're going to have guys like Mark Hall and Zahid that one is going to bump the other out of the weight, and they're going to keep another person out because there are so many good guys. We're getting multiple H-level world medalists now that are going to be at the same weight.
Okay, so why can't I have?
So like Jordan Burroughs didn't make a team this year.
Yeah,
a senior team this year.
Okay, but why can't I have we don't have to have 1 year expectations. I'm talking about if I'm watching. I mean, guys, whether you want to admit you do this or not, and you guys actually write articles on this, so you guys might as well just admit that you do it. When a kid is coming along the entire time, when a kid's a freshman, when a kid's a sophomore, and I actually hate that people do it. I think people do it significantly too early. Like they're doing it when a kid's a 7th grader, 8th grader, or 9th grader, and they're saying, "Oh my God, this kid is so good. Look what he's giving him." Look, you guys did it with freaking Bo Bassett last week, right? Or a couple weeks ago. It is inherent. People love precocity. People love it when people are good early, and they want to make expectations of what people are going to be later. I think all those times are too early. But I think when a kid is a senior in high school, it is fair. It is very fair to say, whether you do it in your mind or whether you do it on paper or whether you do it on a video like we're doing right now, here is what my expectations of what that person is going to be. Okay? And if I make expectations, they're going to underperform or they're going to overperform. Now, listen, just because they don't have great wrestling results, and obviously Mark Hall's not the case because he does have great wrestling results. Pick someone else. Just because they don't have great wrestling results, there could be a lot of reasons. They could have an injury. They could want to be a doctor and just spend too much time studying. There's 20 other reasons. And they underperform. So what? We're making a statement they underperformed. But to act like we don't actually have expectations and know what they are very, very clearly is disingenuous.
Well, why? Who said they didn't have expectations? I just said he met my expectations in folk style, and I said he didn't. I expected him to perform better in freestyle. I don't think there's. I think you're.
JD was saying no. He
No, I agree.
saying,
I'm just saying.
why, when there's so many good kids, why can we put expectations on them? Or
No,
that's not what he said.
Put expectations. I'm just saying keep those expectations maybe a little mild. Don't say this guy's going to be a 4-time NCAA champion. Say he's going to be a NCAA champion.
But it ain't
Don't say this
fun.
kid's going to be
That's
a world
no
champion.
fun.
Say he's going to make a world team.
We don't want to do that. We want to say that guy's going to be the greatest of all time. That guy could be a 4-time NCAA champion. That's what we want to do. And why can't we do it?
That's what we want to do.
Don't tell me I can't put expectations on someone if I don't want to.
No,
now, listen,
well, you can
I'm
put
not going to go
expectations
tell
on
that
someone.
kid.
I'm just saying it's so hard to win one NCAA title, let alone 4.
He's calibrating it. He's not saying don't put expectations.
Being a wimp.
No, he's not. I think what he's saying is,
I'm not saying them for myself. I'm saying for someone else.
You're being
You know, a
soft.
few 4-time NCAA champions there.
Listen, I'm not going to go up and tell the person, like, listen, here's what I expect out of you. And if you don't do this, you're going to let me down big time. I ain't going to say that. And you know what? For 99.9% of them, they just say, listen, Ben, I don't give a damn what you think I'm going to do. It's not really relevant to me. That's what they should say to me. Okay?
I agree.
But to
That's
act
why
like
no
I
one
don't
should-
have
no
expectations
wrestler
of
should
what
listen to
someone
us. Put their
can
expectations on them.
accomplish it's
And
crazy.
to say what somebody
Yes.
could accomplish, like if you said this guy could accomplish that, that's his ceiling. That I'm fine with. But to say I expect this person to win,
Why can't
3 or
we?
4 NCAA titles, because there are other good wrestlers. If this guy's a 4-time NCAA champion, this other guy can't be a 4-time NCAA champion because at 1, 2, 3, 4 years they're going to be at the same weight. Stuff like that. Sometimes a Mark Hall is going to run into his Zahid. They can't both be 4-time NCAA champions.
Okay.
Sometimes it's not even just a knock on that person.
Number one on your big board, Richard Figueroa. Let's do this right now. And in 4 years or 5 years, I'm coming back on the daring show, and we're going to talk about whether he underperformed or overperformed. Give me the exact expectations of Richard Figueroa. 1-time NCAA champion. How many time All-American? It's a tough question because he might not start his first year.
I know. I'm debating between 3 and 4. 3.
I'm between 2 and 3.
Okay. Will he make a senior world team?
Yes.
Ooh.
No.
Well, at 57, if he can remain a 57-kilo guy and say 7 years, 6 years.
No, that's fine. We can
Who
disagree.
else?
I mean,
We can disagree.
senior world team? Listen, Spencer's not going anywhere, guys.
Well,
His time's coming. Vito Araujo, that's a 57 for life.
Okay, so listen. I just very easily, I got you guys to admit that you had expectations of what Richard Figueroa was doing. Very, very specific ones. Very specific ones. So then if we rewind the show 5 years from now, I can say, here's what JD, and you guys could tell me, you know what, Ben, I didn't have enough time to prepare to give you that answer. And that's fair. I did kind of put you guys on the spot, in all fairness. But you have expectations. Someone is going to be above or below them, and we should be able to say that without feeling bad about it.
I don't feel bad.
No,
I
I agree. That's not what we're
I
arguing.
call you both for stalling. Stalling.
I answered all your questions in a very timely fashion. You're just being.
You were
belligerent.
definitely stalling the first time. Belligerent.
Yeah, you're belligerent. Belligerent Ben.
You're over the line.
Listen, the way you're talking to my man, it's got me a little concerned for your long-term, future here, Ben.
I just didn't like it that we're trying to act like we can't have expectations of people. And
No one has said that. You're arguing with
people.
No one said that.
JD said that.
What are your expectations of Richie Figueroa? Put your expectations in.
Yeah, you know what? I don't actually feel like he'll win an NCAA title. I'm thinking. I think couple-time All-American is where I kind of see him at. I was a little bit put off by a couple of his. He did end up beating Drake Ella at juniors, but I was kind of put off by the effort in his performances, and so. Obviously skill-wise, he has the skills to do it, But at the college level, if you're not willing to put the effort in, people are going to get better than you. It's really that simple. And I didn't like the amount of effort I saw in a couple of those matches. So now boom, there's my expectation. If he proves me wrong, he overperforms. If he proves me right, he's there. And listen, if he doesn't ever make the starting lineup, then he underperforms. It's easy to say.
Boom roasted. All right. We'll do one more question, I think, and then we go. Actually, two more. If we use Russia's way of determining an Olympic team, do you think they would have given Cox and Suriano a chance at a different tournament to make the team?
Yes.
Even Jaden?
Russia? Yeah, for sure.
I don't know.
Well, Russia would have been having
like
Russia would have been having
was
these
it 26, 16. Chikayev missed weight, and they basically just said he made weight. That was a thing.
I mean, I feel like Russia would have been having these dudes wrestle at camp, and so they knew what the actual result was. And then if they didn't get the one that they wanted, they would have had them go somewhere else to try to get the one that they wanted.
When has that happened?
When has what happened?
That scenario where they didn't get
well,
what they wanted.
I don't have proof of them wrestling at camp, but the 1 year, who was the 57
Done a
that
little
they
bit with heavyweight this year.
Well, what about
Where they declared the team, and then they said after Russian Nationals, and they kind of said, but heavyweight could still change. It didn't.
who was the Lebedev, right? Lebedev was the one they screwed.
was
Or
different.
Lebedev
He
was the
was
one they
different.
put on the
He
team.
won trials. He won trials.
He did
No,
win
one of
trials,
the
but
years-
that's also different because his father owns Diamond Mind.
Father-in-law.
Excuse me.
Right. Well, there was a couple situations. I'm not remembering the exact details of them. And then even I want to say Satiev in 2008. I want to say Mertzaliev beat him, or maybe Sargush beat him, or someone like that. And they kept having them wrestle till they put him on the team because they wanted him to win his third Olympic title.
Right.
So
That
it absolutely has happened.
I mean, you just went back to 2008. It's 2021. I mean,
Well, I don't stop. I'm not.
it's
I'm
far
not.
from
I'm
a
freestyle.
process.
Iran does their process like Americans think Russians do their process.
yeah, that's my point. I think people have this picture of how Russia picks their team. I don't think it's real. The guy who wins the nationals, I mean, the vast majority of the time makes the team.
Okay,
Sometimes they do
might
something where
actually
they
be the best.
Sometimes
Also.
they'll declare someone like Sadulaev. They'll say Sadulaev's on the team. Deal with it. And that I would say is a huge difference from how we do it. But that is not giving a guy.
They would never do that to a weight necessarily up in the air.
Yeah, they would never do that to Kyle Snyder. They would never say, "Yeah, you're on the team no matter what," especially with Jaden Cox there. But I think if the guy doesn't. Now here's where I think.
No, but I'm saying like Russia doesn't do that at weights like 86 and like 125.
Do you know what I think happens if with the Jaden situation? If it's in Russia, I think
He made weight.
he just made weight at that
Yes.
time. He made weight 6 minutes late, but it's close. It's no problem. He not wrestle till tonight. We see Jaden. We see Kyle. He's fine. And I think that's probably what they would have
That's
ended
what
up
happened
doing.
with Chikayev that one year.
I don't think, but I don't think they would just he didn't show up or he didn't wrestle at this thing, and now you've got a guy like Kyle Snyder,
They
but we're
also
going to
would
make
be
them wrestle.
testing Suriano before Russian Nationals for COVID.
Yeah, they wouldn't be testing him. Why you test
Yes.
a great athlete? He's fine.
Or if they would have tested him and then they would have made that test disappear if it didn't show what they wanted.
Look at Nick's six-pack. He is not strong. He's not sick. He's ready to wrestle. But they don't do this. We have Gilman. No
They do
Suriano.
things like that to get their best possible team.
Yes, they look this way instead of that way. It's strategic. But I don't think they would have given just a special wrestle off elsewhere. Maybe. Maybe so. Last question. Ben, do you remember when you brought on David Taylor on the T-Row and Funky show, and he talked about the difference between Ohio and PA high school wrestling?
I remember bringing him on. I don't remember specifically what he said. I believe, I think we asked that question, and obviously Tommy wrestled in Ohio, and David wrestled in Ohio, and then was in college in Pennsylvania. But I think something about top bottom, where PA is really good at top bottom, so they emphasize that more. But I don't remember exactly what he said. That was many years ago.
All right. Well, that's that. I'm sure I listened to that show too, but I don't remember what he said. Thought you might. That's okay.
What about Lefty Strat's question here? The truth is out there, and about Kyle Dake. Several in the article says several tools that can employ right now to slow down and in some cases reverse the clock. But I also listened to, oh my gosh, who did I just listen to? One of my friends recommended it. It was someone on Rogan. I know who sent it to me. I can go look him up. Anyways, he is creating a cheek swab where you can swab your cheek and you send it in, and it will give you your biological age. So this is pretty simple. We could just do this to Kyle Dake and see if he's getting younger and if he's telling us the truth or not.
We could do that, but we would have to compare his biological age from like a year ago.
Yeah. We would do it moving forward.
Okay. That would be fun.
Because if he's getting younger, let's see. It was David. The guy's name is David Sinclair. He was on both Lex Friedman and Joe Rogan, and he talks about different tactics in reducing your biological age and increasing your cellular function. So it was very interesting stuff. And honestly kind of motivated me. Maybe I'm going to start getting tested so I can start getting younger like Kyle Dake. No reason not to feel good, be young. And maybe if I reverse my age enough, I can wrestle another match or something.
There you go. Lex Friedman and Joe Rogan, both frequent attenders of Flow grappling events. Who's number one?
Oh, Lex Friedman lives in Austin?
Yeah, he's come to the last 3 or 4. He's been there.
He's a really good jiu-jitsu guy, correct?
He's like a black belt, pretty sure.
Yeah, I heard he's high level.
Yeah, he's pretty jacked too.
Is he?
He's a strong looking dude.
Nice.
Okay. Well, with that, let's get the heck out of here. Actually, let's get some Odaguru horse training footage.
Oh God,
this is important stuff. So, which one's Odaguru? Is that him?
On the left.
On the left.
They're racing the horse up the hill.
It looks that way. Now,
is it like there's like a fairway looking thing.
Who knows? Who knows what it is? So he's training racing horses to determine his speed. And there's a lot of people asking about Ollie. Here he is.
Oh my gosh.
That's him.
Are you kidding me?
He's been at the UEFA Championships rooting for Team Switzerland. He's a big Swiss soccer fan. I know he's Italian, and this doesn't make sense, but that's where he's been. So for all of you asking about him, let him live. You know?
That's funny.
All right, with that, let's get out of here. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll be back tomorrow. We got special guest, compliance officer from Oklahoma State. I should learn his name. This is a person with a name. I haven't said it yet. I'll get his name.
We need to get some good questions for him,
That's my promise to you. I will learn this man's name. I'll promise nothing else, but I'll learn this man's name. Thank you guys so much. We'll be back tomorrow. Hope you guys have a great Tuesday. Thanks for listening. See you later. Bye.